Sometimes taking quantities from our landscape designs can be a bit tricky, especially when we want to make cost schedules and we want to get an accurate idea of how much material we are going to use. In today's video, I'm going to show you how we can extract all this data from your CAD drawings and then bring it into Excel to get precise numbers and then take those numbers back to our layout so we can visualize everything in a single space. We will see the typical commands that I use in CAD for extracting this data, and on Excel I will show you the workflow that I use step by step in how you can create very basic formulas so everyone can do this in an easy way. That's it, let's get started. I'm going to use our garden design landscape base that we scratched in one of my previous videos. If you don't have this base, feel free to download it. It's available on my Patreon and the link is gonna be on the description. The first thing that we need to do is to make our shopping list. And this shopping list, it's going to be the items that we are going to count, and we're gonna divide this into main categories: the hard landscape and the soft landscape. We are not gonna get into details for the planting as this is gonna be a separate video, but this is gonna be only focused in raw materials. On this same file, you'll be able to use this template for your own projects, which basically has all these squares where you will start inputting your information. So we're gonna divide this key by hard landscape, and this one is going to be soft landscape. This is going to be the place where we're going to start to identify which are the items that we want to count. And we're going to start with the deck. So we're going to type here deck, and we're going to copy from the drawing a few of these lines from this place. Press F8 to deactivate ortho up to here. Then we're going to use trim command just to start populating our boxes. And we're gonna go for this type of paving. We're gonna use trim command to delete everything that is outside the box. Also delete this. And this is gonna be called paving type 1. Then we're gonna copy this hatch right here. And I am going to move it just here so we can do the same thing. I am going to select the hatch, press X to explode it so everything becomes a line. And then I am going to use trim command again to cut everything that we don't need. Something like this. And this is going to be called paving type 2. On this design we have two types of planters. One of the types of planter is this one right here that has steel edge. So for that one I'm going to create a new layer, and this layer is going to be called hardworks _ steel edge. And I'm going to change the color of this layer to this purple. Select layer, and I am only going to match the properties from that new layer to this, and then I am going to select that line, go to the properties panel, and I am going to increase the global width to 0.05. This is used for representing that steel edge within our hard landscape list. Then I am going to copy this, copy that up to here, and then I am going to trim all of this. This item is going to be called steel edge, and in this way we're going to keep building all of our list, separating the items between hard landscape and soft landscape. I am just going to speed up the camera because this process is a bit tedious, but I think you get the idea. Basically you are just listing all the components that you are going to analyze later on Excel. As you can see, this is starting to build up, and we will keep going adding the remaining components. So far we have now the hard landscape shopping list, and now we're gonna go to do exactly the same process but with all the soft landscape. So for doing that, it's gonna be a very similar process where we just want to represent all these graphics that have been shown in our plan into this list. So for doing that, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Basically, it's going to be just copying the hatches into these small boxes, matching the properties that we already have here, and keep building our shopping list. For the planting, we are not gonna get into species details, but rather on quantities only. So we're gonna list our specimen trees, our specimen shrubs, our linear meters of hedges, and our individual ornamental planting species. And there we go, guys. So we have our shopping list ready, which basically it's divided in hard works and soft works. Now I'm just gonna arrange it a little bit in a more strategic way, so we have space for inserting all the data that we are gonna take from Excel. And for doing that, I'm just gonna move a little bit how this is being presented. We're gonna use this layout that we have right here. Like I said before, if you want to use this same template, feel free to download it from my Patreon. It's for free and the link is gonna be on the description. So we nearly have all our categories arranged, and the purpose of this is just to reflect what you can see on the drawing on this key, because it's gonna serve as a visual reference when we bring all the data from Excel. I am just gonna tidy up this a little bit to arrange more space on the layout, and then we will keep working on this. This tree right here, we are going to explode it, and we are going to trim also these bits right here, as we only want information to be inside the boxes of our legend. So you can use the tree command to get rid of all of these bits right here. And we can match the properties typing MA to this tree right here. I want to make sure all of these has the same space, the same amount of space in between. So I'm gonna draw a line that is gonna be 2.5 meters. And I am just making sure that everything is evenly spaced. And we're gonna use one more box for the lighting fittings, which are these ones right here. So we're gonna copy this one as well. Copy it from the center, and let's bring it just right here. And we're gonna change this to lighting fitting. So far we have our categories now in this layout. So let's jump into Excel now, and we're just gonna choose a normal blank workbook, and we're gonna start creating and crafting our spreadsheet. And I am going to put side by side on the screen both programs, AutoCAD and Excel on this side, so we can start copying all the information over. So we're going to start by just typing all the names. Type 1. From this point in the columns, we can enlarge the width of the cell. Then we're going to go for, then we have rolled gravel, steel edge, planter. And I'm gonna speed up the camera so we can crack on with the most exciting stuff. We also need to update our numbers here on the cut drawing. And here on Excel, I'm gonna show you a really cool trick. So if you select all these four, and then from this little corner, when this black cross appears, if you drag it down, it will automatically create the other numeracy. So here we have our names, and then we're gonna add a column name for this, and this is gonna be called item. So for now, we're gonna change the item to be bold, and we're gonna fill it with this color. And now we're gonna create another column here, and this one's is gonna be called category. On category, we have two types of categories. So we have hard landscape, which is gonna be for all of these ones. And then we have soft landscape, which is going to be for all of these ones right here. Then here we're gonna make it bold, and also we're gonna fill it with this color. And now on the next category, we are gonna type quantity. We're gonna use the same header and bold. And here is where we're gonna start to take measurements. But before doing that, I'm gonna copy this and paste it here, and we're gonna change this to units, because some of our measurements are gonna be taken on linear meters, some others are gonna be square meters, so we need to specify which type of unit are we using. And then I'm just gonna squeeze this window a little bit to get a quarter of my screen on Excel and then the other 3/4 on AutoCAD. And we're gonna start by the deck. So there's different ways we can approach this. One of the ways will be to go to the measure tool right here and then click on area, and then we can start drawing a shape around all the deck area, and this will give us the total area of this selection. So if we press enter, we can see that the area is 37.44 square meters. So we're going to type here 37.44, and on units we're using square meters. For paving type 1, we have this type of paving, and we're going to apply the same technique, which is going to be measured by area. And here we're going to select all of these, and then we have our first figure that is 10.07, but we also have the paving right here. So here's where we are going to start to apply our basic formulas. Pay attention to this. So on quantity, rather than type in here 10.07, I am going to type the sum of the both measurements. So this is going to be equal to 10.07 plus my next measurement. So I'm going to use the next measurement again, and now I am going to go here, measure this area, press enter, and this area is 8.6. So I'm going to go back to this formula right here, and I have equal 10.07, which belongs to this part right here, plus 8.634, enter. And that automatically is going to give us the sum of this paving area plus that paving area. We're going to go now for paving type 2, which is these bricks right here. And for doing that, I'm going to show you another way of doing it. So if you draw a rectangle, just a normal rectangle, which actually we already have it drawn right here. As you can see, this is a rectangle. And then you go to the properties panel, you could see the area right here also. So we can take it from here. So we're going to type here 22.68 meters, and of course this is square meters, so we're going to copy this and paste it here as well. And then we're going to go for paving type 3. So paving type 3 is these stone flags right here, and here the measurement is going to be slightly different because this is not square meters, these are units. So we are going to type here item, and we're gonna count them. For count them, you can either select them all manually, or you can select only one and then right click, so you can select similar, and then you can isolate them, select all of these ones, and we have 32. So we have 32 of paving 3, and then we can right click on the cut drawing, isolate, and the isolation, and we're gonna go for the rolled gravel. For the rolled gravel is this hatch right here, so if we select the hatch, we can see the area. So that's gonna be 35.63, and these ones are square meters. Then we're gonna go for the masonry planter, and here the approach is slightly different because usually the masonry planter edge it's counted by linear meters. So here we're gonna type linear meters, and it's gonna be all these yellow lines. So we have this one, we have this one as well. I am gonna select all the lines like this, select also this one. Accidentally select the tree, so if you want to select it, press shift and select it again, and that is gonna take it off from the selection. And now right click, isolate object. So we have all the planters right here. As you can see, it gives you the length and also the area. So the length will be all the perimeter. All of them have different lengths, but the problem here is that if you select 2, it wouldn't give you the total. There are some plugins available on internet, for example this one right here, that will add all the length of your selection with a few clicks, but this type of plugins sometimes cost extra money. If this is something that you will be using as a repetitive task, I totally recommend you this plugin because it adds all your selections and it gives you the total length of all of them. but in this case we can do it manually. So here on my formula I'm gonna type equal, and then I am gonna type the first figure, which is 8 meters. So it's gonna be equals 8 plus, then I'm gonna select this one, which is 10.4 plus 10.4 plus, then I am gonna select this one right here, which is 17.6 plus 16.4 plus 9.2 plus 34.4, enter. And as you can see, we have 96 linear meters with all these masonry planters together. And actually this is the steel edge planter, so this should be here, right? So I'm gonna right click, isolate, and the object isolation, and we're gonna repeat the same process with this planter, which is 23.92, so equals 23.92 plus, and then you're gonna get this one right here, which is 7.12, sorry, enter. And then we have our 31 meters for the steel planter, for the steel edge of these ones right here. So I'm gonna copy linear meters here up to here, and then we're gonna do the IPR column. So for the IPR column we have 1, 2, 3, 4, so we have 4 of them, and these ones are gonna be units. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beams. So this is going to be 5 beams, and these ones are going to be 4 units. We can count the lighting fittings: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lighting fittings. And then we have topsoil. The topsoil, we're going to measure it in cubic meters. So these ones are going to be cubic meters. We have soil here, we have soil here, we have soil here, and we have soil here. So we're gonna select all the topsoils for the planters. And as you can see, it gives a cumulative area right here, which is 56. So this part is gonna be equal 56, because that's all the area together. But also we can see that the planters are 90 centimeters tall, so we're gonna time that 4.9, and then we're gonna click enter, and that's gonna give us 50.4 cubic meters of soil. But as you can see, this planter right here is slightly lower than the rest of the planters, so we need to take off the soil that will occupy this bit, because as you can see, this one is not that tall. So to do that, we are gonna measure the difference, and the difference is 75 centimeters. So we need to take off 75 centimeters on the area right here. So let's measure that area first, and that area is 2.8 meters, 2.82. So to this 55, we're gonna put this in brackets, and then we're gonna put this in brackets, and then from that we're gonna take off minus 2.82 times 0.75. So basically we're taking off the amount of soil for this planter, because this one is not as tall as the others. So if we press enter, we will end up with 48 cubic meters, which gives us all the topsoil for the garden. Now we're gonna go for the long. This one is pretty easy because we just have this one right here, 12.96. So 12.96, and this is square meters. For the specimen trees and for the specimen shrubs, we are not gonna get into pot sizes, species, root balls, or if it's a bare root, because we're gonna do that later on a tutorial that is going to be specific for the planting plan. The main purpose of this schedule is only to have an overall perspective of what are the quantities in our landscape, so we can tell the contractor to get us a rough price of how much it's going to cost, or we can have ourselves a more clear idea of the amount of materials that may be required. So for the trees, we can select one tree, right click, select similar, and that's going to select all the trees available on the plan. As you can see, there are 5. So we have 5 specimen trees, and all of these ones are going to be on units, except for the hedge, which is going to be lineal meters. So let's copy the units and paste them all here, except for the hedge, which is going to be lineal meters. So for the hedge, we're going to use the distance tool right here and just really quick measure roughly how much is the distance of the hedge. And as you can see, it is 7.8 meters. We get 7.76, but we can put 7.8. So 7.8 linear meters. It's always better to have a little bit more rather than being short. So now we will have the specimen shrubs. For the specimen shrubs, it's this symbol right here, as you can see. So we're gonna click on it, select similar, and we have 5 minus the one that is on the key. So that gives us a total of 4 specimen shrubs. The hedge, we already have it, and then we're gonna go for the planting type 1. This is a nice thing of having it as blocks like this, because if you select similar, it's gonna count automatically how many you have. As you can see, we have 10 of this one minus the one that is here, so these ones are gonna be 9. And for ornamental planting 2, we're gonna do the same process. Click on one, right click, select similar, and we have 4 minus the one on the key, so this is gonna be 3. Then for the planting type 3, we have this one, right click, select similar, and we have 3 minus 1, this equals 2. Then we're gonna repeat the same process with this one right here, and we have 8 minus 1, it's gonna be 7. Select similar, and now I'm gonna just speed up the video to do the rest. As you can see, it's a very straightforward process. You just need to right click, select similar, and repeat the process all over again. And there we go, guys. Here is our quantities and units. Now we're gonna maximize this, and we're gonna start to put a little bit more of detail into this. So the next column that we are going to add, it's gonna be price on the same format, and we're gonna establish a price per unit. And depending on the country that you are, these prices are gonna be different, but this is gonna be just an example. I'm not expecting these prices to be real, it's just for this tutorial. But let's assume that the price per square meter it's gonna be 300 pounds. So right here you can select all the column. If you right click and if you go to format cells, you can click here on currency and you can select the symbol that suits better for you. So if you're in USA, you will choose dollars. In this case, we are going to use 300 pounds for square meter of deck. Then we have paving type 1, and we're going to use 250 for that one. Paving type 3 is going to be 280, and this one is going to be 220. And now I'm going to stop the video again because I'm just going to give prices to all of these quantities. Don't worry too much if my prices are totally wrong. This is just an indicative exercise for you guys to learn how you can do this with your real prices and with more accurate data. Then I'm going to show you another formula so you can get the total price for all the quantities that you have in your schedule. So you're going to copy and paste this here, and we're going to type subtotal. We can increase this, and this is the formula. So you need to press equal, because this H5 equals to the price of unit times the quantity. So it's pretty easy. I'm gonna do it here again if you are a beginner, so you can repeat this in your process. So type equal, and this equal the price per unit times the quantity. And then you can extend this formula all the way down. And here we're gonna use another formula which is AutoSum. So here on AutoSum, it's gonna be the sum of all of this, and we're gonna click enter, and the total gives us 56,000 quid. So now it's time to put a little bit of formatting to this table. For doing that, I'm just gonna select all these rows like this. I'm gonna go here to the borders and select all borders, which give us a little bit more of a visual aspect. And now I'm gonna show you a trick so you can organize this data to your own needs. And for doing that, I'm going to show you a command which is really handy when you want to organize the information in a schedule. For example, let's say that you want to organize this by price, the cheapest one at the top and the most expensive ones at the bottom. So for doing that, I'm going to create here another header, and this one is going to be called cont. So cont is going to be basically the way this information is arranged at the moment. Deck is number 1, paving type 1 is number 2, and now we want to organize all this information by price. So we're going to select all of these columns, and we're going to go here to sort and filter, and we're going to choose custom sort. Let's say that we want to organize them by price and unit, and then you press OK. So as you can see, it has organized all the items by price. Let's say that you want to bring it back to how it was before, and that's why we did the cont. So now you can select all of these ones, come back to sort out and filter, and then you can select by cont. So that will put all the information to the original state. Now let's say that you want to organize it by alphabetic order, so you can select again all of these, go to sort out and filter, custom sort, and organize it by item, and that will put by alphabetic order all the items like that. So we're gonna take it back to how it was before and organize these by cont, which is like this. Right, so we can then hide this column if we don't need it, and we're gonna save this schedule in our project folder. And I'm gonna show you how you can bring this schedule to AutoCAD. To bring this into CAD is gonna be very easy. You just need to select all the information that you need, press Ctrl C, and then we're gonna go back to AutoCAD, and we're gonna press Ctrl V and paste it here. As you can see, it has asked us for the text size and all of that, so we're just gonna press OK, and then we're gonna scale this 0.1, and as you can see, it scales with the table, and then we can put it right here in an area that we need. Then we can scale it again, so we can select all of these, scale 0.5, and we can put this schedule right here. So if we go to our layout, to put this back to its scale 1 to 100, we need to double click in the window, then zoom, enter 1000, because we're working on meters, divided by 100 XP. That will give us the 1 to 100 scale, and we can frame this right here. Then, because I don't want this layout to be moving, I can go to layout, lock the viewport, and enter. So if we enter to the viewport, we don't need to, we are not moving anything, it moves with the paper. And as you can see, we have just created our quantity schedules. Like I said at the beginning, this is just an example, but what I'd like you to learn here is the workflow, because you can apply this to your projects. So you can have your CAD plan, you can have the visual communication to say, alright, this is egg, this is the steel edge planter, here are the bricks, and here you can have the schedule that refers to all of this. So everything reads as a single layout in one single drawing. So you can give that to your client, and they can understand in 3 seconds what you're talking about. Because sometimes when you give different bits of information scattered across different packages, people don't really understand what's the idea. Whilst when you pack everything in a single sheet, it's more clear for anyone that doesn't have a lot of experience to understand what you are trying to communicate. And the most interesting part of all of this is that if you need to keep working on the schedule, you can double click on the schedule, and it will take you back to the original file. So let's insert a new column right here, and we can add comments. And let's say that in this column you should put some comments. If you save this file and then minimize this, it's gonna automatically update into your CAD. So this has created like a direct link between your drawing and your schedule, and you can keep progressing all this information to the next level. And having all of these together in a single sheet, it's a major win. Guys, this is everything I hope today. I hope you had learned how you can use your CAD drawings to extract quantities, and how you can put that information into Excel to then bring back more information to your drawing. If you liked the video, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one. And if you want to learn more about how you can draw things in CAD, check my playlist where I draw all these gardens from scratch. Guys, thanks very much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Also, I would like to take a bit of time give a special thanks to the subscriber that recommended me to do this video. Thanks very much for that. I hope this has been useful.